moving the division of enforcement and science
Right.
to, they're disbanding that group, and they're making the heads of those two divisions accountable directly to the secretary.
Oh boy, that's definitely sounds like it's being more political. That's bad. That's very bad. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk for several years. The Republicans have wanted to separate out hunting and fishing and wildlife management from enforcement. So, and I really strongly believe that their intention is to put money into hunting and fishing and to starve the enforcement, which is not so different than what Reagan did during his administration, to starve the enforcement of, for example, mergers and antitrust law. I mean, there's been a long history of Republicans who don't technically dismantle something, they just suck. They
Suck the life out of it.
What's that?
They suck the life out of it.
They suck the life out of it, yeah.
And the big conservation reform is raising the speed limit to 70 miles
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah, that's gonna save a lot of
So we
people.
can get you there a little faster. And
Thank you,
slow
guys.
down.
Yeah, on country roads, and I hate to say this because I don't want to scare you, but when I talk with local law enforcement, what they tell me is they simply don't have the staff to patrol these roads anymore. Which means if we raise the speed limit and we don't support law enforcement, we're going to end up in sort of like the situation you're describing, Jim. We're unsafe on the road as well as unsafe on the water. People, when they think, I want small government, they don't think, I want small government so that nobody answers the call when my house is on fire.
You have it like Texas, where you can choose to pay for fire protection.
And if you don't choose to pay for it, then your house burns down. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the world that I mean, if you take this to its logical extension, that's the world that this is becoming. So I have been asked a lot about what I think the next campaign should be about, regardless of who runs. And I believe what we need to do is what I described earlier, connecting the dots between who you vote for, what happens in Madison and Washington, D.C., and what happens in our local community. And there's been enough happening right now that, and especially in the coming years, when the schools again get cut in this next school year, that we can really start to paint a picture of for people about what happens when you starve government. And as I said earlier, it isn't that we don't have the money. This budget is $4 billion more. It's a record-setting $70 billion two-year budget. So the money is being spent. It's just not being spent on the functions that we think of when we think of what we want our communities to look like, what we want our communities to be. And Onalaska is a fabulous community. But it became that way because people invested in it. And you know that, and I know that, but somehow we have to convince all of our neighbors of this. Yeah.
What